Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carl, I'm here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Great to be with you each and every day, Monday through Friday at 10:45, giving you the message, the action, and the tools to take one more concrete step toward winning the 2026 midterm election big time in November. Before we get into today's topic, let's look at what's going on today and the rest of this week. There's a lot happening. Tonight at 5:30, the Renville County DFL hosts their working family picnic in Olivia. Also at 5:30, there's a neighborhood ice cream social in East Bethel. I have to tell you, the folks up there are doing these ice cream socials all the time, and they're quite popular. So thank you for doing that uh, to the team up there. And at 6 o'clock, the SC53 Central Committee meets. That's one. This one's virtual. Tomorrow at 5, head to Chatfield for the Rural Rally for Democracy. And down in Caledonia, the Houston County Fair kicks off at 5, so you can stop by and see our folks at the booth. Then on Thursday, there's a working families picnic day all across the state. Mankato at 4:30 with the Blue Earth County DFL, Casson with the SD24 at 5 p.m., and Egan with the SC56 at 5 p.m. And then on Thursday afternoon at 1:30, SD44 is giving back. They're volunteering at the Kids in Need Foundation in St. Paul. So lots happening this week. You can find all these events and more at dfl.org/events. All right, get out to one of these events and bring someone new if you can. Okay, so last Friday we laid out the narrative that will be carrying us with us all the way through November 3rd. Democrats are with you, Republicans are with Trump. Today, I want to talk about one of the clearest contrasts anywhere on the ballot, and that's the race for state auditor. The state auditor is the watchdog for your local tax dollars, working with cities, counties, and townships across the state to make sure public dollars are accounted for and local governments have the information they need to make good decisions. This is the office that makes sure the money you send to your local government is spent the way it's supposed to be spent, and that the government is effective and accountable to you, the citizens. So who do you want doing that job is the question for us in the state auditor's race. Let's look at the choice for Minnesotans facing them on November 3rd. First, 1 week ago today, former Duluth City Councilor Zack Filipovich won our DFL nomination for state auditor. Some of you met him right here on this call back in June, and we're excited to have him back on the call soon. Zack is a certified management accountant. He's a finance manager for a nonprofit. He earned his MBA from the University of Minnesota Duluth, and he did that after serving 8 years on the Duluth City Council, including a term as council president. So he's actually sat at the other side of an audit in a real city with a real budget. He is, and our team keeps pointing out, the only accountant running for state auditor in Minnesota. In his own words, quote, "I'm proud of my career in accounting and nonprofit public service. As the only accountant in the race, I'm prepared and qualified to protect local tax dollars," unquote. Zack won this nomination the right way, traveling the state, sharing a vision for transparent and accountable local government. He's ready on day one to make sure our local governments, from our smallest townships to our biggest cities, have the oversight, data, and technical assistance they need to prevent fraud and make good decisions for their own communities. Working families are better off with Zack in the auditor's office. Simple as that. He is the strongest candidate in this race. Contrast with the weakest candidate in this race. Here's the Republican in this race, Scott Jensen. When asked about work of auditors, here's his complaint. And I want you to really sit with this one. Play the clip.
I think the auditor is getting hung up on just numbers. And I think in medicine, if I look at lab results, you can have AI interpret lab results.
You said auditors are getting hung up on numbers. This went a little bit viral over the last week because getting hung up on numbers. That was his account. Folks, that's the job that he's seeking. His job is to get hung up on numbers. The numbers are the entire job. That's like complaining that your dentist keeps getting hung up on your teeth. This is a man running to be the state's chief financial watchdog. And his objection is that the watchdogs are paying too much attention to the finances they're supposed to be overseeing. Remember, Minnesota's strong. Strong is bringing in an accountant with credentials and a decade of local government experience. Weak is showing up to the numbers job and complaining about the numbers. Let's contrast Scott Jensen's weak qualifications with how Zack Filipovich describes the job of the state auditor. Let's play that clip.
Minnesota, Zack Filipovich here. I'm the only accountant running for Minnesota State Auditor. I have my umbrella with me because it just rained. All the water that is in the city of Duluth goes into these storm sewer pipes, and a lot of it actually goes into this massive structure behind me, which is a holding tank for storm water that collects in the city of Duluth. Our local tax dollars go to pay for this infrastructure, and our state auditor's office is here to help make sure that our local tax dollars are going to the right places to fund projects like this, so we are able to put in clean water back into our system. We'll see you on the campaign trail.
So Zach knows that caring about the numbers means delivering for Minnesota. It's about delivering clean water and the essential services needed from a functional government. One side is putting a professional in a professional's office. The Republican side is running someone who'd rather the books stayed closed and projects undelivered. So why this race and why now? This office touches your property taxes, your school district, your county road budget. It touches every single community in Minnesota, including the small ones that don't have a finance department of their own to lean on. Zack Filipovich is prepared and qualified. There's only one accountant in this race. Vote all the way down your ballot. Zack Filipovich is with you. He is the strong candidate. Scott Jensen is, of course, with Trump. He is the weak candidate. So here's our action for today, and it's a short list. 1, share this post on social media. We're going to drop it in the chat. It says there's only one accountant running for state auditor in Minnesota, and his name is Zack Filipovich. 2, learn the line and use it this week at a picnic, a fair booth, at a door, or your unit meeting. We've only got one accountant in the race. They've got a guy who thinks auditors are getting hung up on numbers. And then action number 3, follow Zack's campaign on all of the social medias you're a part of, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and elsewhere. It's so important for you to amplify Zack's message. Zack is running for a statewide office, but has one of the lowest budgets he's allowed to have in terms of the campaign size. And so Zack needs all your help to amplify his content as much as humanly possible. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. We've got 77 days until the November 3rd midterm election. We're building the largest and broadest coalition possible to deliver the largest electoral defeat of a sitting president in the history of Minnesota midterms. We're doing it together. And now let's go win this thing. Thanks, everybody.